and I'm back with a look at the different books on offer currently with Exalted. I'm not going to do any reviews. I'm not going to. I'll maybe give a very brief overview on each individual one, but and I'm just going to take them off the pile and just show them. First off, we have the Exalted Second Edition GM Storyteller's Screen. I really think this is rather nice. You have a map that basically faces your players. And you've got all the cheat sheets and everything else that you could possibly want. Basically, inside you can't really see, but all the cheat sheets that you possibly want, inside. It's a very good GM screen. Though what I do hate, I hate GM screens in A4 format because I'm sure, as most of the people are aware, you can't see over them for dice rolls and this sort of crap. I dislike this A4 format, but I'll cope with it because I love this game. We have the rulebook, which, as you can see, is quite a beefy thing. Unfortunately, everybody's rulebook that I've seen is varnished, and I've not seen a rulebook that's been transported. You can't see it on here, but that actually looks like it's not been through the wars. It really does get damaged quite easily, I'm afraid. A huge amount of stuff. The game itself runs on the White Wolf Storyteller's Adventure system, but this one really. This one really debuted with Exalted because they've created it in such a way that it's made for higher level power games. And this is another thing I quite like about it, is that it's made in such a way that basically the game expects you to power game. Therefore, you could say, well, it's easy to break it, but having said that, it's a game that's designed to be broken, so therefore everybody's on the same level, if you catch what I mean. You can break the game, but to be honest, they're all viable options, and when you take a look through and work out how to build your character, then it's a very elegant character creation, yet involved character creation process. Elegant's the wrong word. Sturdy. It's not elegant. But it's an involved character creation process, and you can really create some very diverse characters. It's very, very good in that regard. What else do we have? We have the Manual of Exalted Power that I found this ridiculously hard to get hold of, which is stupid. This is the Manual of Exalted Power Dragon-Blooded. I found this really hard to get hold of. It seems to be quite a rare book, which is a shame. Unfortunately, what I don't like is that Exalted, the actual rulebook, is full colour, and these are sort of, these are definitely not, they're all sort of line drawn. I mean, it's nice artwork. I mean, Exalted is a very mangarish anime game. I would say it was sort of like semi-realistic, to be honest. It's very, very high-powered. But anyway, this gives you everything you need to know about the Dragonbloods, the different houses, and even, with this you can also create Dragon-blooded characters if you want to play Dragonbloods in the world of Exalted. Very nice. Likewise, we got the Lunar Manual of Exalted Power. As you can see, the Lunars basically take the form of shapeshifters. Again, a very nice book. And I'm sorry, this artwork at the front here is terrific. You probably can't see it because it's quite involved, but this, for me, the Lunars have got a very different sort of system of play from the Solars. You couldn't read the Solar book and really understand how the Lunars work. They're quite different, but very fresh. It's another thing you can play should you want to. And the other thing about the character creation system is it's the storyteller system's great, but you could, if you really wanted to, when it comes to the Solars, especially when you see the character sheet, basically you got your casts of Solar Exalted. You got your Dawn cast, which are your warriors. You've got your Dawn Zenith cast, which are like your priests / leaders / survivalists. Night cast, basically your rogues. You've got your Twilight cast, which are basically your magic users, and you've got your Eclipse cast, which are basically your courtiers and politicians. Now, what makes the character creation system so great is that you're never going to be stuck to, say, just being a warrior. If you wanted to, you could so easily create a battle mage, or or basically or a Twilight cast that specialises in war and directing armies. That is so free in terms of the type of character you can create. Although it sounds like there's a level system, there really isn't. It's very, very nice. Right, here we've got the Book of Sorcery Volume 1, Wonders of the Lost Age. This basically details a bit of life in the first stage. It details relics of the first stage that common people and common folk would have used. It goes into there's some weapons and some very useful objects. It also details excuse me, I'm going to have to remember the actual name of this because I could actually make it sound very power armor. Yeah. And basically, if you really wanted to in Exalted, you could be very cheesy and pull in this sort of fantasy, sort of Gundam type sort of war mech type thing. If you really wanted to do that, it is in there and it is possible. It's a very, very epic sort of game. Odinol's Codex. Again, this is another book of sorcery. But this one details how to create relics, how to forge stuff with the different materials. In creation, and also has a huge list of relics and artifacts that your players could pick up, along with hearthstones and everything else. That is highly recommend. If you're an Exalted player, I highly recommend picking that up. That's a very, very good book. I would pick up Wonders of the Lost Age as well, but if you got to make a choice, pick up pick up this. So we then have the White Treaties. Now this is Book of Sorcery Volume 2. This is the book which details all your different spells, everything else. However, this is Solar Sorcery. And this is Necromancy. I love this book. So yes, on one side you've got Necromancy, on one side you've got sort of standard magics, and right in the middle you get you can't see, but trust me, there's a fantastic illustration that merges the two books. It's very nicely done. If you're going to play a Twilight cast with magic, you've got to have that book. Absolutely vital. You're going to need that book. Scroll of the Monk. Another book absolutely brilliant. The Scroll of the Monk is a very nicely formatted book that details all the different martial art styles that you can use in Exalted. Now, when I say martial art styles, most people think, oh, well, it's a book of attacks. To some extent that's correct, but having said that, basically, the martial arts, anybody can throw a punch, really. Any Exalted, Solar, Lunar, whatever, they can all throw punches and they can all make it look cool. But this details sort of martial arts forms and all that sort of stuff that will really give some characters the edge. It's again, another vital book. That along with the White Treaties, absolutely vital. I find it's a brilliant book. There's some artifacts in the back too, but. Right. Now then, they've also released a group of settings books. I'm not going to go into all of these because there are quite a few. This one is called The Compass of Celestial Directions, Volume 2, The Wild, which details the wild, the way fair folk societies work. It's got new antagonists for you, fair folk. It's got the Western Wild, Northern Wild, all the different things, and plot hooks and adventures. Rolls of Glorious Divinity Volume 2, I've got one in there somewhere, basically details demons and denizens of the underworld. As you can see, it's rather a demonic looking book. Scroll of Kings, basically mass combat, different factions in the world. Compass of Terrestrial Directions, the South. Bastions of the North, that's first edition because they haven't actually released a North book I'm aware of yet. They may have done. If somebody knows that whether or not there is a Compass of Terrestrial Directions North, let me know, please. Compasses of Celestial, Yushan, the East, the Scavenger Lands, which is a place that doesn't really care about Anathema, so it's a very kind place to start your players off, the Scavenger Lands. If you've got a new group, go to the Scavenger Lands because you're not going to get a wild hunt straight up your backside as soon as you go there. The West, Rolls of Glorious Divinity Volume 1, detailing godbloods, spirits, and all manner of other things. Very handy. The Manual of Exalted Power Abyssals. These are like the Exalted of the Underworld. At first glance, you might think, well, they're just souls turned evil, but the mechanics actually are sufficiently different to warrant a read. Very good source book. Graceful Wicked Masks. I was thrilled to pick this up. You can actually play fair folk. Absolutely brilliant. You can play the people trying to bring down creation or whatever. So that is a brilliant book. So it's a different format from the other Exalted stuff, but Graceful Wicked Masks. This is the second edition one. There's a first edition one that's very similar, so make sure you get the second edition one because it's not quite the same. And Manual of Exalted Power Sidriels. For those of you who want the who want to play Keepers of Fate, you really need to know the world before you get stuck in with them. Anyway, there are a couple of other books. You got the Forgotten Races, which details the mountain folk or dwarves and the dragonkin, that sort of thing. There's also a new manual of Exalted Power, Infernals. I haven't read that yet, so I can't comment. But those are the books I own so far. And well, I'll be back for sort of a talk about the system and whatnot in just a moment. See you in a sec.